Most of us recall in elementary school, we talked about the web and how everything's connected. So you want to think about that when you're planning the project, and then you can move forward with that overall plan in mind. That helps you elevate the level of how you can more effectively allocate resources for a project. My name is Dan Buffett. I'm the Chief Executive Officer with the Habitat Conservation Trust Foundation. We evaluate over 800 funding proposals each year, and our board is made up of fish and wildlife experts from around BC that then take their knowledge to look at projects to ensure that they're addressing it a priority, and also as well making sure it's a good use of the limited funding that we have as an organization. Back when the Habitat Conservation Trust Foundation began in the early 1980s, we had some really forward-thinking hunters, anglers, trappers, and guide outfitters. And they came together and they agreed that they would be willing to pay an additional fee on top of their regular hunting and fishing license. And that money is collected by the province of BC and then handed over to HCTF to allocate to projects that are often outside of what government does. So a lot of habitat restoration projects, some applied science, and as well we also have an education program of connecting kids with nature, because these are going to be the folks in the future that we hope will be thinking more of the connectedness that we have both for our environment and for ourselves in the environment as well. One of the biggest challenges we have here in BC is we're finding out that we're not doing enough in terms of trying to either reverse or even stop the decline in our species and habitats over time. Well, I think when we look at this challenge, you need to raise the level of how you think about a project and move to what we call an ecological scale. Because often when we look at how fish move, how wildlife migrate, it's not just at a project level. These fish, these wildlife, they're moving through streams, they're moving through large parts of the watershed. So when you're thinking about planning a project, you need to be thinking about the scale that these species and these habitats persist. Thinking about all the pieces or components of that ecosystem and how they relate together to make sure that you're addressing the bigger stressors on that species or habitat. To shift our approach to a more ecosystem-based approach, it's going to take a couple things. You need to plan, you need to implement, and you also need to adapt as well too, to inform the next time you go back and implement a project. So if we can implement that as a collective group through partnerships, we learn together, put better projects on the ground, make more strategic use of our resources as well. And that ultimately, at the end of the day, will help better address some of these challenges that we have in conservation.